Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's tutorial, I'll demonstrate how to draft, cut and sew a built-up neckline with a V-cut opening at the center front. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothings Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you! I'll be working with the following items: tape measure. Ideally, a pencil should be used to draft a pattern, but for tutorial purpose, I'll be using these marker pens, water erasable fabric pencil, rulers and curves, a pair of paper scissors, a pair of fabric scissors, my basic bodice pattern, some interfacing, African print fabric also known as Ankara, lining fabric. So I have here my basic bodice pattern which I drafted using the BUSTIER technique. I have also gone ahead to alter the front of the pattern into a princess dart bustier. This is not the focus of this tutorial, so the link on how to do this will be above and in the description box below. Also, I have not drawn out the front and the back neckline curves. This is because I do not want to use the general 3 inches by 3 inches and 3 inches by 1 inch for the front and the back neckline curves. I want to calculate it. This is because using your exact neckline measurement is very important for a built-up neckline design. To do this, I will divide the bust circumference measurement by 12, and this is 39 inches divided by 12, and this is equal to 3.25 inches. So for the front neckline, I will use a value of 3.25 by 3.25 inches for the front neckline dimension. For the back, I will use 3.25 inches for the neck width, and for the neck depth, I will divide 3.25 by 3, and this is equal to 1.08. I will now approximate this to 1 inch. So the value for the back neckline curve is 3.25 inches by 1 inch. I will now go ahead and draw out the front and the back neckline curves using these values that I just calculated: 3.25 by 1 inch for the back neckline and 3.25 by 3.25 for the front neckline. I will start with the back pattern. Starting from the neck point, I will measure and mark 1/4 inch on the shoulder line. I will extend the shoulder line beyond the neck point like this using a pencil. Also, starting from the neck point, I will measure and mark 1/2 inch on the line, the shoulder line that I extended with the pencil. I will now extend the 1/2 inch point vertically upwards with a pencil like this. I will now go ahead and measure 2 inches on the vertical line. I will extend the center back vertically upwards like this. I will now connect the 2 inch points to it like this using a horizontal line. I will come down by 1/2 inch at the center back like this. Using a French curve, I will now draw the upper curve of the built-up neckline like this. I will also connect these points to the 1/4 inch point that I earlier marked on the shoulders. Using a French curve, I will create the outer edge of the raised neckline like this. I will now move to the front. Also, starting from the neck point, I will measure and mark 1/4 inch on the shoulder line like this. Using a pencil, I will extend the shoulders beyond the neck point like this. Starting from the neck point, I will measure and mark 1/2 inch like this. From the 1/2 inch point, I will now draw a vertical line upwards like this. Then I will measure and mark 2 inches on the vertical line like this, starting from the shoulder line extension that I drew out with a pencil. From the base of the basic front neckline curve, I will go up by 2 inches. I will now connect these 2 points together like this using broken lines. From this point, I will measure 1 inch outwards like this. I will now connect these 2 points together with like this. I will also connect these points to the 1/4 inch point that I measured on the shoulder line with a curve like this. From the original starting point of the pattern, at the center front, I will measure the front neck depth. You can use any value between 7 to 9 inches. I will use 7 inches for mine. Starting from the center front, on the raised front neckline, measure and mark 1 inch for the opening at the center front of the built-up neckline. I will now connect these points to the front neck depth like this. The line should be slanted. Next, I will compare the length of the back and the front shoulder lines, and I will make sure that they are equal in length. So I'll measure the back shoulders now, including the built-up neckline. This gave me a value of 7 inches and a quarter. I will also measure the front shoulders, including the raised neckline. The front shoulders is slightly longer than the back, so I will adjust the front so that it becomes equal with the back shoulders. I will now go ahead and redraw the upper curve of the raised neckline like this. So this is the excess and I'm going to trim it off. I will now go ahead and cross-check the measurements again and make sure that it is equal to the back shoulders. I will now go ahead and cut out the back and the front patterns like this. I will close the bust dart like this using my sellotape. So these are the front and the back pattern pieces needed to make the built-up neckline. I will now go ahead and cut it out on my fabric. So now I've already pinned the pattern pieces on the fabric. Then the fabric is already on fold. The center front will be cut on fold. I used half an inch seam allowance all around the center front piece, and this is the center front piece. For the back piece, I used half an inch seam allowance at the armhole, shoulders, raised neckline, and the hem, and 1.5 inches as the side seam allowance. I will now go ahead and cut out the patterns on my fabric. This. This is the second front piece, the side front piece. I use half an inch seam allowance all through, except for the side seam where I use 1.5 inches side seam allowance. I will now go ahead and cut it out like this. I will notch the bust point and the under bust point on both front pieces like this. So these are all the pieces needed to make the upper part of the built-up neckline dress. I will now go ahead and cut out the front and the back pieces on my lining fabric. So now that has been done, these are the front pieces, and I've already interfaced the wrong size of the front lining pieces, and I've also padded the bust area. With the right sides together, go ahead and pin the front pieces together like this. I will do the same thing for the front lining pieces as well. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch in place using half an inch sewing allowance. These are the back pieces, which I've also gone ahead to cut out on the lining fabric as well. For the back pieces, I'll go ahead and stitch the darts in place on all the 4 pieces. The 2 pieces cut on the main Ankara fabric and the 2 pieces cut on the lining fabric. I'll go ahead and stitch the darts in place on the wrong side of the fabric. So now the stitching has been done. As you can see, these are the front pieces. I will now place the lining pieces on top of the main fabric piece like this, right side to right side. I will pin the neckline in place. After pinning, I will stitch on my sewing machine using half an inch sewing allowance. These are the back pieces. I have gone ahead and stitched the darts in place, as you can see. I will now go ahead and place the back lining pieces on top of the main fabric pieces like this, right side to right side. I will pin it in place like this. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch it in place. The upper part of the built-up neckline, I will stitch it in place using half an inch sewing allowance. This is the front piece and I've done the stitching, as you can see. After stitching, I notched the seam allowances all around the neckline. I now went ahead to understitch the seam allowance to the neckline of the lining piece, and I have given the outfit a thorough press, especially around the neckline area. I will These are the back pieces, and I've done the stitching for the upper part of the raised neckline, and I've also given it a thorough press. After stitching, I knocked the seam allowances also, and I understitched the seam allowances to the upper part of the built-up neckline on the lining piece. I will now place the back pieces on top of the front piece like this, right side to right. I will open up the shoulders like this. I will now pin the front and the back shoulders in place, fabric to fabric and lining to lining, making sure that the shoulder seam lines match up. Once I'm done pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch it in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now the stitching has been done, as you can see. You should notch and trim off the excess seam allowance at this built-up neckline area, so that this area can relax and lie flat. And I've given the outfit a thorough press. I don't want the zip that I will fix to the center back of the outfit to reach the raised neckline area. This is my choice and it is optional. So I'll go ahead and turn the garment to the wrong side so the right sides are together. Also, the main fabric pieces are together and the lining pieces are together. I will pin the necklines in place first, making sure that the seam lines match up. Then I will measure and mark 1 inch zip allowance at the center back. The length of the stitching will be 4 inches on the main Ankara fabric and 4 inches on the lining fabric. So now the stitching has been done, as you can see, and this is what the stitching looks like. I will now go ahead and fix the lower part of the dress to the bodice. I will also fix this long zip to the center back of the dress. So this is what the back of the finished outfit looks like, and I've already fixed the zip, as you can see. And this is what the front looks like. So that's it, guys, we're done. This is the final look. Raised neckline with a center front V opening. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, share this video with your friends who are interested in sewing, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. See you in my next tutorial. Bye, and thank you so much for watching.